Hey everyone, talking about the top 5 best fragrances by Comme des Garçons. I've tried around 70 fragrances by Comme des Garçons at this point, and these 5 have stood out the most to me, both in terms of quality, the combination of sort of uniqueness and mass appeal for the most part, and just doing something that I don't think many other fragrances out there do in quite such a fantastic way as these. So, first off, these are in no order. Yeah, let's just jump in. First, black, the eau de toilette version, which is an important distinction because there's also the black in the Comme des Garçons Play series. That one is not anywhere near as good as this, in my opinion. The notes in this one are cedarwood, vetiver, leather, licorice, birch tar, pepperwood, black pepper, and incense. This is full bottle worthy for me. It's spicy, smoky woodsiness done perfectly to me. Sometimes with that combination of accords, it can kind of just come across as like one big dark mess or like super dour and ancient if there's like too much kind of balsamic stuff added or certain things that can just make it not feel as much of like an everyday reach for me at least. But the way this is blended, it just has the perfect amount of each to me. It's like I can practically see the incense smoke and feel the bark of the woods sprinkled with like vetiver and pepper. I do not like licorice normally, but I thought that was going to make me not like this, but the way it's done here is just really blends in so well with the others and just kind of adds a little bit of an extra sort of spice or kick. So even if you don't like licorice, I would still try a sample if the rest of it sounds good to you. I find this to just be such a good combination of like suave and sexy, but also refined and yet also really wearable for, casual stuff too. One of the best spicy scents I've ever smelled for sure. I love smoky. Spicy can go hit or miss for me, but the way the spice is done here is just perfect. Good longevity and decent projection. It is unisex leaning masculine, and I also think it's a fantastic deal price wise. $110 for 100 mil compared to what so many things of this caliber smell like. Yeah, that's a really, really good deal. Next up, blue Cedrat. The notes in this fragrance are Italian lemon, juniper berries, angelica roots, metallic rose, and Virginia cedarwood. This is so well blended. Like those notes sound kind of like, okay, that's, kind of stuff like that is in a lot of things. But to me, this smells like it could be a $350 niche fragrance, despite being a fraction of the price of that. I believe it goes for about $120 right now, and it's really running low on FragranceNet. But I'll link in the description where you can get a bottle or sample of any of these. And this is not like as, out of this world, mind blowing, avant garde, unique as a lot of Comme des Garçons fragrances are, but it's still unique in a way that they manage to take, kind of simple list of notes and make something that just smells so like vibrant, fresh, clean, deep, and just welcoming all at once. I just find it like really, stunningly good combination of so many different aspects, but yet very cohesive at the same time. So many other scents that I've smelled with, a notes list similar to this just kind of fall flat, especially in this price range that's not hundreds of dollars. I think this is pretty unisex overall. Highly recommended if you like the idea of a green, citrus, woodsy scent with plenty of like freshness. I'm not a rose fan, and the way it's done here totally just adds a bit of brightness. It's not typical rose at all, so I don't think that you need to hold off on trying it just because of the rose aspect. It's not powdery, it's not cloying rose. So yeah, just very, very well done. And again, I think that one's very unisex. Next up, Vettiveru. This has Italian bergamot, cardamom oil, neroli oil, vetiver of Haiti, cedarwood, and musk. So again, sort of, straightforward notes there. There's not any kind of one thing in there that's that crazy. Those are all very, very common. And vetiver dominated fragrances can be a bit hit or miss for me personally. I like vetiver. There's rarely a time where I actively dislike it, but it can be done in so many different ways, and a lot of them really just kind of end up smelling the same. But I love this, and it is an incredible deal. You can get 125 ml for around $60. So underrated. I think this is the most underrated vetiver scent I've ever tried, for my taste at least. To me, it absolutely deserves to be included in like best of vetiver lists, especially because, and I saw, someone commented on my full review of this one saying this too, that it was so nice to find like a light vetiver scent. So often vetiver scents are really heavy and yeah, just heavy handed, like just kind of too much and not as easily worn unless you're like a diehard vetiver fan or you're looking for something that's just like, stereotypical old school classic gentleman type of scent. This to me is just crisp and fresh, but it also has like a laid back and calming side too, so it's not the typical vetiver at all. To me, it smells like kind of the idea of like relaxing on the patio at like a tropical resort. The vetiver doesn't go too oily. It also doesn't go too dry. And I think, there's some similarities to the way it's done in like Encre Noir for a mention, or as others have mentioned in reviews of this, but I think it sets itself apart also with stuff like the Neroli note that adds some brightness to it. Yeah, I don't know how this stays so under the radar, but really, really good. Moderate longevity and projection, but this is not a scent that I would recommend if your number one goal is like, I want a vetiver scent that's going to project everywhere. This is a nice lighter one, and it's unisex leaning masculine. Next up, Series 3 Incense, the Kyoto version. The notes in this are incense, cypress oil, coffee, teak wood, vetiver, patchouli, amber, everlasting flower, and Virginia cedar. So good. Super wearable and modern incense. It has like an intriguing bite to it, as well as kind of like a more sweet side than some of the others in the Series 3 Incense series by Comme des Garçons. Really versatile. This could be worn during any time of the year, day or night. Very versatile for type of occasion in terms of like casual or formal as well. Really upbeat and energetic, but yet also relaxed. So to me, this leans masculine, but I think it could easily work for anyone. Moderate longevity and projection. And yeah, I do like most of the ones in their incense series, but this to me just stands out the most, especially because again, this is more of a modern take on incense. It's not overly dusty and dry and dour or anything like that. It's really kind of lively, and I enjoy it a lot. Last up, another one that is full bottle worthy for me. Frankly, I think in a standard way of saying full bottle worthy, any of the ones on this list are for me, but I'm just so picky about my criteria for what warrants something to actually be something that I want to wear and choose regularly over other stuff. That only two of these, Black EDT and this next one, are ones that I have full bottles of. This is Comme des Garçons, the self-titled, that came out in 2011. They have a couple different self-titled ones. This is one that has like a weird bottle, very cool. And I'll also link in the description my full reviews for the ones I've done of these. And for example, with this one, I have like an unboxing and full review. But the notes in this are brown sticky tape, industrial glue, musk, styrax, saffron, aldehydes, lilac, and hawthorn. So I was definitely excited seeing the tape and glue things because I like to check out, unique and weird fragrances. But some of the other stuff was like, I'm not really, the florals. I don't always like aldehydes. I don't always like musk and all this stuff. But yeah, I love this. So it's very unique for wearable fragrance, obviously, I guess, when it has brown sticky tape and industrial glue as notes. To me, there's a couple of things that I get from it. One, nostalgia. It's totally reminiscent of like being a kid and doing those kind of like art projects in school or whatever. And it's so interesting too, like the fact that it takes those notes, which are so accurate, but also adds these kind of, like styrax and saffron, which adds like a little bit of leatheriness to it, but then the aldehydes give it this like bubbly brightness, some light florals, but this is by no means a floral scent. And yeah, I love the creativity. I love how like realistically evocative it is, and I just like the smell too, and it kind of just keeps me coming back for more. Like, what is that? This isn't something that I usually wear for like hours and hours at a time, but it's something that I like to put on at night. Say that I know I'm going to take a shower in the next like hour or two, and just like bask in the enjoyment of it. And yeah, I love it every time I do smell it. It has good longevity and moderate projection. Very unisex, I would say. So these are my top 5. I will also probably do a list at some point of like the top 5 most unique Comme des Garçons fragrances, and maybe at least one of these ones will be on there, but for the most part that would be a little different. But yeah, Comme des Garçons, one of my favorite fragrance houses in general. So for me, this is really, I highly recommend any of these on the list. I never recommend blind buys, but all of these you can get samples of, so definitely recommend checking them out if any of them sound up your alley. Very, very well done, and for the most part, very fairly priced as well.